Seems to me that the philosophy he has expressed, rejecting the idea of a community of nations, is a very dangerous one. It seems to me that his personal conduct, the tweets and the like, is such as to cause very great uncertainty and worries about what the United States will do next. It seems to me that the erratic character of his pronouncements means that people can no longer rely on the United States. This is going to be a very difficult period for the United States. I think it's going to be a very difficult period for the world because of the United States withdrawal from its traditional posture of leadership. But ultimately, I'm an optimist. I believe that there is a resilience in American institutions that will carry us through even a very trying moment like this one.
How do you see the future relations between Israel and President Trump?
Israel would be making a very serious mistake if it were to overly rely on President Trump and overly rely on some of those around President Trump who have the longest record of loyalty to Israel. President Trump has proven in many, many ways with many different people in his business life and in his political life to be a fickle ally who can change his mind. He is a highly polarizing figure, as we're seeing coming into the G20. And so I think that Israel would be making a great mistake if it were to think that now with President Trump, fundamental global realities are different and it can afford more truculent positions in its interactions with its neighbors and beyond. Is the Israeli concept of permanent occupation of the West Bank? Is the Israeli concept of a state that, demographically speaking, can viably remain a Zionist state? What is the path for getting there? These questions will not be resolved by the shifting winds of U.S. politics. They will not be resolved at the United Nations. They will ultimately be resolved by the choices that Israelis make.
Recently, it was decided in Israel that the Israeli universities will introduce a code of ethics in order to prevent from the professors to speak about their own personal political opinions. What do you think about this decision?
I believe very strongly that the answer to bad speech is more speech. That the way to respond to ideas you don't like, to respond to ideas that are loathsome, is not to shut down those who put them forward, but is instead to defeat them with better, stronger arguments, to scorn and to mock them. And so, in general, I am very skeptical of shutting down those who speak. I took the position during my years at Harvard that anyone was free to say anything they wished, but that academic freedom did not include freedom from criticism. And that's why I spoke out very vigorously against the proponents of BDS, boycott, divest, and sanction, and said that I thought that what they were doing was anti-Semitic in effect, if not in intent.
You spoke some years ago about the differences, in your opinion, between the male and the female. A quote, a very controversial quote that you made. The male mind is better wired for math than the female.
That's not something that I ever said. I believe that every individual should be given every opportunity to pursue their talents to the maximum possible extent. Will that result in every activity having every group in equal proportion? That's hard to know. People differ, and different groups of people have different attributes. But the main and defining principle, and the one that I've always striven for, is enabling every individual to pursue their talents to the maximum.
I thank you very much, Professor Saammers. Thank you very much for this conversation.
Thank you.
Thank you.